Welcome. Listen, it's the Free Gems Podcast, episode 13. I know you guys don't hear a certain voice right now. I'm in here dolo. Listen, we're on YouTube Live for the first time. I'm not gonna lie. I want to say I'm a little nervous, but I'm not, because I'm pretty much just going to sit up here and rant, which is kind of the original point of how I even got into podcasting, because I used to always get into my little rants. I go on Instagram and give people advice and talk about this and that. Not that I'm any type of wizard or teacher or anything. You probably shouldn't be taking my advice if you don't want to. Fuck my advice. But, you know what I'm saying? It's episode 13. Cinco right now, he's on vacation. He's down. It's Memorial Day weekend. I don't know. He's out living his best life. You feel me? Me, I be at the crib. I be working. You feel me? I don't got time to be going away, especially, you know what I'm saying, to abandon the podcast. But not that he's saying that he abandoned the podcast. But, you know what I'm saying? My brother's out. He'll be back next week. We're going to have a guest when we come back too. But, so... Episode 13, man. So we're gonna talk about a lot of different things. Also, this is my first time on YouTube Live, so I'm excited. Listen, if you tapped in from wherever you from, please let me know. You know what I'm saying? Because I know YouTube has a much broader audience. We're from northern New Jersey, Bergen County. You know what I mean? So I know my immediate following is generally those the people from around me. But man, I love seeing when I see them comments and people are like, man, tapping in from Texas, tapping in from Cali, tapping in from Arizona. I'm like, yo, bro, this is the coolest shit in the world. Like knowing that we get this kind of reach. You know what I'm saying? So a big shout out to y'all if y'all supporting from wherever you're supporting from, man. It's a beautiful feeling. We've been growing, you know what I'm saying? Subscribers is going up at a nice little rate, you know what I'm saying? It's the beginning. We're putting in this groundwork, and I'm loving the whole process. I'm not gonna lie. We just started building the clips up too. Now we're breaking down videos to give y'all clips, highlights, pretty much just like the most important or the funniest parts of each episode. You know what I'm saying? Those are coming real soon, so you're gonna be seeing dozens of clips coming real soon. I've been working on editing them myself and everything. So and big shouts out to Marv, man. Been super supportive, been super helpful. You know what I'm saying? I tag him on all the posts now. So if y'all see Marv, man, just, you know what I'm saying, give him show him some love. Go ahead, go tap into Bravery Studios. If you need, hey, listen, if you need a podcast space, you need somewhere to, you know what I'm saying, do your thing. You want to try this, try it, man. It's super affordable. Come in here, man. It's dope. The love, the support, these waters. I've always got a water on deck. I'm always reminded to take the labels off. You know what I'm saying? We got coasters, phone stands. You know what I'm saying? We got multiple studios. There's another one being opened up. So, man, if you're ever looking to get into podcasting, man, you got to come down to Bravery Studios there in Garfield, New Jersey. About 15, 20 minutes from New York City. So, yeah, tap in. But, so let's go ahead and get into the topic that I really wanted to talk about. So I wanted to start off with talking about being independent. You know what I mean? So being independent, when it comes to independence, like people think about, oh, I don't ask nobody for nothing. I don't need anything. You know what I'm saying? So the first step I always give people when it comes to being independent, especially if you're young coming out of high school or something, or you just getting your license, man, the most important thing to me was get a car. Get you a vehicle so you can get from point A to point B. One of the most important parts is because it's so much more affordable when you break it down in the long run, because people are out here taking Ubers every day. Like if you work, and let's say you work 20 minutes away, you got to take a $15 Uber there, $15 Uber back. You're spending $30 a day on just getting there and back. And you work 5 days a week. You're spending $150 out of your check just getting there and back. Had you had a vehicle and you're just paying gasoline, you might have spent $20, $30 a week, might spend $50 a week, and that'll cut back so much. Like one of the main things when it comes to being independent is managing your money and being able to be smart and think long term with your money. So one of the best moves that you could do is start, you know what I'm saying, get your license first of all, and then go get you a vehicle. And the best thing about when you go get a vehicle is like you start to build credit, because you can either finance or lease it. I know a lot of people they want to cash out vehicles and not think about the payments and all that. But listen, the payments is the most important part. That's one of the, like, not only is the independence because you need a car so you can get from point A to point B, how you want, when you want, where you want, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's one of the more important parts. But it's also making those payments and building that credit. So before I even get into credit though, just getting from point A to point B, like how many of y'all don't even realize how limited you are to the things that you can do because you don't have a vehicle. Like you can't go to the store when you want, because shit, if you want to go to 7-Eleven real quick, that's gonna cost you a $12, $15 Uber. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely want to cut back on all that's unnecessary spending. And one of the best ways, like I said, is once you get a vehicle, you cut all that out. And sometimes you need a ride. You can't get to certain places because you don't have a ride. So, or you be at the party with your other ride, and now you want to go home, but you can't because you don't want to spend $40 on this Uber. So just building that independence and getting a vehicle, like I said, is super important. And then going into making payments and leasing vehicles and making sure you start building credit. If you cash out a car, all right, I understand. Car might be $3,000. You don't want to ever think about monthly payments, but let's say you finance a $10,000 vehicle, you can get yourself something decent. It's gonna be whatever you're gonna finance for 10,000, 15,000. It's gonna look way better than what you're gonna cash out for 3,000. And on top of that, when you finance something, it comes with a warranty. It comes, you know what I'm saying? They normally give you some type of benefits that come with the vehicle to guarantee your money is being well spent. And now, not only that, if you were to be willing to spend $3,000 to cash out the vehicle, all right, now you get a $10,000 car, and you go there with the same $3,000. You might only have to put down $1,000, $2,000 to go get the vehicle. So now you get to save some more of that money that you were going to use to spend all on at one time to get the car all out. You know what I'm saying? Flat out, as they say. So you can spend less by trying to go finance it. Number one. Well, the day of you're spending less. Of course, over time you're spending more, but like I said, the payments are so important because now you take a $10,000 vehicle, you put down $2,000, you already paid 20% of the vehicle off. You're gonna probably be paying like anywhere between like $200, maybe $300 a month for the next. Give or take, I don't know. They probably give you like a 2 or 3 year loan on that car. I never financed a car that was that cheap, to be honest. But at the same time, I know that it's not going to be like the conventional 5-6 year car loan when you get a vehicle that's $10,000 because you'll pay it off way faster than that. But I say that to say you use this to build credit, and when you have a $200, $300 a month payment, it's really not that expensive, especially when you're cutting back on Ubers. If you break that down, you're paying $300 a month. That's the equivalent of paying $75 a week. You spend more than that on Uber, like we just discussed, just getting to work and back. You're spending $150. Plus you add gas, you're gonna be spending like $100, but you add the convenience of being able to move when you want, how you want. And that's the most important part, like I keep reiterating. And so definitely avoiding spending unnecessary money on Uber, having to take buses. You gotta also one of the most important parts about getting a vehicle is you save so much time. Like, bro, time is the most lucrative. Like, it's the most important thing we have, literally. Like, I break that down multiple times in different episodes on how important time it is because it just simply is, man. You can't be wasting your time. You're taking public transportation, spending an hour and a half to get somewhere that would take a 30-minute drive. That right there should already give me a key as to why. Like, listen. Just get you a car. But and I also want to keep touching on credit because I have an example. All right, I remember when I went to go buy my first car. I remember I was 20. First time I went to go finance my first car. I was 20 years old. I walked into the dealership and they told me, "Hey, you have a great credit score. You should have no problem getting signed up." I had like a 720 somehow. Like, and I say somehow because I didn't even know I was building credit. I was so young and dumb. I honestly didn't know. So I remember I go into the dealership, and next to me there's another table, and another agent is working with this other couple, a young couple too. They were probably a couple years older than me, but younger couple regardless. So I'm sitting there talking to the guy, and I remember the first car I bought, it was a Camaro. It was like a 2010 Camaro. This is like 2015, so it wasn't too expensive. I believe it was like $19,000. And he was telling me that, yo, just put the down payment on the taxes so you're not paying interest on taxes. I'm like, all right, cool. So he told me, yo, $3,000, you're going to be in the clear. You're good. Cool. I'm overhearing the other conversation going on the whole time while I'm there because, you know, buying a car is a process. You be there for hours. So I hear the other conversation, and the dude's trying to buy, I believe it was like a Toyota. I can't remember. It was one of them hatchbacks, but he was trying to buy a Toyota, and the car was like $16,000, and he had 6,500. I was so close, I literally heard the whole conversation. So he had 6,500 on him, and they were just explaining like, yo, your credit is too poor. Like they were explaining to him like he had less than a 600, and they were like, yo, they just not trying to approve you for this level of a car. And he had to go buy. Well, I don't know what he ended up going to buy, but I know they were like, yo, listen, this budget not gonna work. You're gonna have to move down more to like a $12,000 car than the $16,000 car, even though he had more than double my down payment. That's how important credit is. That's what I'm trying to like really push to y'all, is that he had way more cash up front. And even if you break down the percentage of $6,500 of a $16,000 car, he had more than a third of the money. Opposed to me, I only had $3,000 out of a basically $20,000 car. Like it didn't make no sense to me, but I that immediately turned my gears and had my head thinking like, yo, what was that about? Like, why wouldn't he get the car if he had so much more money? They would take that money, and it was a larger percentage than what I was putting down. Like, it didn't make sense, but I understood these banks weren't willing to take a risk on them. So when it comes to building credit, there's a bunch of different ways, and I ain't gonna lie, there's a bunch of different little tricks and ticks, and I would love to get into it. So there's a thing called credit lines and credit boosts. You know what I'm saying? So there's banks and companies that legally will attach your name to somebody else's credit in order to boost your credit. So like when I was going into buying my first home, I remember I needed to boost my credit because it helped my interest rate. So I remember I'm not sure if I told the story on episode 1, but I feel like I might have touched. I know I touched base on definitely buying my first home, but I remember I had a pretty good credit score at the time. It was probably like a 670 or something like that. And I remember well, it's not pretty good, but it was all right. But regardless, I was advised, yo, Wells Fargo got these trade lines going on, and all I had to do was I paid $1,100, and within the next credit check, which is I believe happens twice a month, like the 1st and the 15th, they check to see how your credit is going. Then by the 30th, they produce the score for the next month, which would be the 1st. Well, by the end of the month, yeah, the last day of the month, they produce the score that's going to be showing up on the 1st, and then you see it when it pops up on your next credit check, credit update. So anyway, what I'm saying is yeah, so I remember I paid that $1,100, and then but next time I checked my credit was up 11. I believe it was like 93 points or something. It was almost 100 points. Long story short, I walked in when I was trying to get this loan, this first time buyer's loan. I walked in with over a 760. It was easy, no deal. It was no problem to get the loan. As soon as I walked in with that, it was a whole different interest rate. I think I saved, I'm not even sure exactly how many points it was, so I'm not even going to speak on how many points I saved on interest. But I just remember it was so important. But I also remember with that same credit boost, I went and financed another car, because at the time my Camaro had gotten total. I went and got another car from Mercedes with no problem. And this car was more than double what the Camaro was worth, literally. I remember the car was probably like $37,000 sticker price, and I still only put down $3,000 on the down payment. And they explained to me, they were like, yo, your credit is stupendous, because I was still like a 760 something. They were like, you could probably get anything you really want. But I was so eager to just get the first car that I saw there. I was like, I'm getting that. But I say all this to say there's so many ways to finesse your way to get a better credit score legally, completely legal. You can literally go on Google and type in credit boost, credit lines, and they'll pop up. You'll see plenty of banks, and there's different options. You don't have to spend $1,100. You could spend $500 and get your points boosted for like 40 or 30 points, 60 points, depending on how much you need, because certain people need a certain amount to get certain things to happen, especially if you're having a hard time renting a property, or having a hard time renting a car, or having a hard time buying a car, leasing a car. Any of these kind of things that you need a loan. Go through a credit boost, because I'm telling you, it's worth the investment. It might cost you a couple hundred, maybe $1,100, but it's definitely worth it, because that's the only way you're gonna get approved. Long story short, especially a lot of people that are looking to get their first rental, and they're too young, don't have enough credit history. This is a perfect way to finesse your way into them situations by boosting your credit. And I remember, hold on, credit cards. Let me not get off topic. My bad. It's hard. When you by yourself, man, it's a little difficult, because normally I got something to bounce off of me. You know what I'm saying? We can go back and forth. If I get lost and off track, he can always like rattle on to what else we talking about. But yeah. Speaking on boosting your credit and using that to get the loans, to get into these apartments, get into houses, you definitely so another thing is too, though, when you do boost your credit, it only lasts, they tell you how long it's gonna last. Normally they'll give you like a month, 2 or 3 months. You pay for what you get, though. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how much longer you need the boost for, you pay for that. So and it's actually dope, because when you think about it, man, these rich motherfuckers are literally just giving out credit cards to these companies that are like third-party teams. I mean, the third-party companies that are selling their credit, essentially. These millionaires are so rich that they're making money from just being allowed to borrow money, if that makes any sense. Like, they have $1 million credit line, and they're allowed to put 10 people on it. These 10 people are paying $1,100 a piece. Like, for me, I'd be one of those 10 people when I had purchased the boost. And think about it, they can sell it for $1,000 a piece. 10 people, they can make $10,000 in the next 2 or 3 months of just, you know what I'm saying? That's one card. These rich motherfuckers be having 10 credit cards, 20 credit cards. The possibility is limitless once you really got, you know what I'm saying, your credit up, and you have the trust with these companies, and they know that you have the financial backing. So that's definitely a trick, and you could think long term on that. You know what I'm saying? Get your money right, and shit, be that rich motherfucker with the 20 credit cards that could put people on them. You know. So getting into it. Matter of fact, so not only is getting a car really good for your credit, you can also get you a secured line of credit through a bank. a lot of banks do it, like Bank of America, for example. What you can do is you ask them for a credit card, but they'll actually not give you money themselves. They'll tell you, all right, a deposit, whatever amount you want to put into this credit card, and you basically are borrowing against your own money. Because the whole point of credit is literally seeing how much they can trust you to borrow this and know you're going to pay it back on time. So basically, the companies let you, the banks, they let you, they pick up the habits from how you borrow from yourself. Because shit, if you don't pay yourself back, you're definitely not gonna pay them back. So that's pretty much how they maneuver. So like I said, you'll ask them for the credit card. Let's say you deposit $1,000, you treat it like a credit card, and even though it's your money, you spend whatever you spend monthly and you pay it back. It's important to actually be using your credit cards. If you get a credit card, you never actually use it, they'll close your account down. That happened to me when I was real young. I was 18. I got my first credit card, and they had approved me for like $2,500, and I literally didn't use it. And then 2 years later, I was checking my credit for the first time, actually when I was going to buy my car, and I realized that I had a closed credit card, and it was just because it was inactive. So they'll close it on you for sure. So you want to make sure you're using it. And one of the most important things about credit is not only make sure you're using it, but try to keep the amount that you're using from that card under 10%. So what does that mean? If they have $1,000 credit limit on this card, you want to use less than, you want to make sure by the end of the month there's only 10% of that being owed still. So let's say even if you ran through the whole $1,000 this month, pay back $900, so there's only $100 in that you owe left, which sounds crazy, but I mean in that case don't be spending that much money off the card. But even if you just use your credit card for like gas or something, you're spending, let's say, $100 a week for work and partying, whatever you do on the weekends, $100 a week, that's $400 a month. Let's say you have $1,000 credit limit and you're using $400 a month. All right, just make sure you're paying back $300 by the end of the month and leave that $100 in there at 10%. It'll look like healthy credit because it looks like you pay back a lot too. You don't just let it linger on, because the real finesse, we touched on this, I believe, episode 1 or 2, but the real finesse is when you don't, when you're just paying the bare minimum on those credit cards, you never actually pay the principal amount that you owe. You're just paying the interest off, because the interest is growing so fast. You get a 15% interest rate on the credit card every time you spend it. You don't even realize you spend $1,000. You know what I'm saying? Actually, no, it's not 15%. I'm trying to break down the exact percentage. But long story short, you definitely want to always pay more than the minimum. The minimum is the way that they finesse you into never actually paying them back, and it looks terrible on your credit because it looks like you're spending 100% of the credit that you're using instead of that the suggestion I gave you, which is 10%. Anything under 30% is ideal, but under 10% is the best thing you could do for yourself, because it looks like you're active and you also are very conscious of making sure you pay them back. So, in that. Making sure you spend less than 10%, getting a secure credit card from your bank. Let me think, what's the most, especially if you're young and let's say you live at home, especially if you're like 18, 19 and you don't have anything you could really put your name on, ask your mom or something to put the cell phone bill in your name, because almost everybody gets approved for the cell phone bill. I'm not gonna lie, from T-Mobile, whatever company you use. So if you're on a family plan or something and your parents are already paying that phone bill, ask them to just switch it over to your name and let them keep paying it, because I mean they was doing it regardless, you know what I'm saying? But you do that and that'll help you build your credit, especially if you're like 18, 19 and you're not really trying to take that's a way to get credit without even having to take the responsibility of paying a bill. It's a great way to start building credit, like I said, without having to take any risk of missing payments and stuff like that, because maybe maybe you're not there financially yet to even be paying off $100, $200 a month. That might be out of your budget, which is fine. You just got to work on being disciplined with your spending and saving habits. And that's another thing I really want to touch on, is being able to save and good ways to save. Because I remember when I was younger, I'm not gonna lie, I remember I was getting like $300 a week. It was like $314 a week. I used to take $250 and put it in a little video game case every week, and then take the other $64 and live off that somehow. Granted, I was like 14, but I remember by the end of the month, at $250, every 4 weeks I'd have $1,000. And I remember I used to get so excited, and even out of that 1,000, what I would end up doing is I would take $200, put it back in the game case, and then I would take this $800 and go blow it on clothes. You know what I'm saying? Which is definitely not what you should be doing. But I look back now, because I don't think y'all realize that's exactly how most of us live our lives into our adulthood. Once you start building these habits of going out every weekend and building these habits of buying clothes and making sure you're the freshest and all that, you build terrible spending habits, and then you don't realize, like when you look up, oh my God, all I have is clothes to show for all this work I've been putting in, because I don't know how to save money. Why? Because every time I get to save some money, I'm just waiting on a vacation or something, you know what I'm saying, to go spend it on. And another thing too is, man, money has a hell of a way of fucking disappearing. So like when it comes to saving, one second. when it comes to saving, you got to be aware that, all right, you can save all you want, save all that cash, but emergencies are going to happen, situations are going to occur, and you're going to have to always tap into that savings. So have two savings. It's really called the checking and the savings for a reason. If all you're doing is saving your money in a shoebox, that's a checking account. If all you're doing is putting your money into one bank account, it's essentially your checking account. Even if you do have a checking and savings, get you a separate account to put that money in. Or like the actual savings. So have you a checking, you know what I'm saying, where you spend money from daily, or how you eat, or however you maneuver, that's fine. But then your savings shouldn't even be in that account, if you ask me, just because you're going to always be looking at it, and it's going to be so accessible. If you really want to save your money, a life hack on that is make that money unaccessible. You know, one of my like best habits that I ended up developing is tucking money away into like crypto and stocks, and we can get into that for days. I definitely want to tap into the crypto market because I know a lot of people are skeptical on crypto, and that's fine. But give me a minute. I'm gonna get into that. But yeah, you definitely want to make that money unaccessible. So even though putting it into stocks and crypto is technically accessible, that should give you more leniency to go want to do that, because you can always sell and get your money back if it's an emergency. But don't keep that money into this account, because you're always going to be. It's a way our psyche works, and it's going to be in your consciousness that, okay, I'm not supposed to be touching the extra $3,000 I got in my savings, but I got $150 in my actual checking right now, and I need to buy this pair of sneakers for $300. Let me just take an extra $100 out the savings. No, I'm telling you, is that you're going to go into the red. It's going to keep happening. You're going to be in this reoccurring cycle. So it's important to develop these healthy saving habits in order to truly keep moving forward. Because what you're doing, I'm not saying that you're living wrong, but I mean, if you're in a financial situation, you always find yourself to your last dollar waiting on your next check. You got to switch something. Why not start now? So that's pretty much what I'm trying to stress to you is, you know, if you get in the check, you put a little, you know what I'm saying, 100 a week away, and don't look at it. Put that shit into Bitcoin, put that shit into Ethereum. Those are honestly the two best ones. And I know a lot of people have been always hearing about how the market's going up and the market's going down and this and that. One thing that's been proven is that like when it comes to crypto, Ethereum, Bitcoin, they always come back. They always go back and surpass their all-time highs. So even when they drop, it's just honestly the best time to keep buying. So like, if you want me to be honest with you, it's never too late. Please go buy you some Ethereum and some Bitcoin. Those are the two best. Honestly, my biggest regrets financially is not investing into Ethereum and Bitcoin when they were like being brought to me. Like I remember there was this one client of mine when I'm doing tattoos. She always was stressing me like, yo, bro, you always talking about this real estate and doing all this and that and buying, flipping houses, which we're gonna get into in a second. And she's like, but you never tapping into this Bitcoin and this Ethereum. I'm like, yo, what are you talking about? This make believe money? Like it didn't make sense to me, right? This is like 2019. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking like, bro, I'm not hearing nothing. Bitcoin was like barely at 2,000. Ethereum was like a couple $100. So I'm like, yeah, that shit sounds cool. I'm not investing my money, real money, into virtual money. I didn't understand it, right? So I'm like, okay, Saba, I'm completely just ignoring her. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. She literally was forcing me like, yo, download Coinbase, do this, do that. I'm like, I hear you. So fast forward, I remember during the pandemic, right before the pandemic, it was 2019. Actually, I still have the DM to this day. And we were talking about real estate and everything. She's telling me like, man, I'm waiting on the economy to crash. It's about to crash soon. And all this, the Bitcoin Ethereum is going to drop and then it's going to skyrocket. I'm like, yeah, whatever, I hear it. And she literally had sent me a screenshot like, look, check this out. She had put 40,000 into Bitcoin when it was at 4,000 a piece. 40,000. So she bought 10 Bitcoin at that time. And I thought she was fucking absurd. I'm like, you're fucking crazy. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's cool, yeah, 40,000. I guess that was supposed to motivate me to go buy something. Like she's showing me like, yo, if I'm willing to put 40,000, you should put at least 1,000, do something. Once again, ignored her, didn't pay her no mind. Pandemic comes around, I see Bitcoin drops, just like she said, down 3,000. It was down, cool. Out of nowhere, skyrocketing, it just takes off. And by the time I look back and I realize, I'm like, this shit is at 30,000. And I thought about it like, yo, her 40 grand that she put in had went from 4,000 and it actually reached 70,000. So just think about it. She bought 10 Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? For 40,000. Now they were worth 30. Let's say they were worth 30. You do 30 times 10, that's 300,000, bro. 300 fucking thousand. I watched that happen. It fucked my head up so bad that to this day I'm just so mad because she was begging me. She was like, yo, you talk all this big money shit, put 10,000 in that shit. She's like, I promise you you're gonna regret when you don't. I'm like, yeah, whatever. not thinking like that. I'm not thinking about any of this shit that she's talking about. But I'm just thinking like, when it reached this height, man, that 10 Bitcoin was at 70. That she had 700,000, and that's just off that 40K. And knowing her, she was buying more and more the whole time. And then I'm watching her Instagram later on, and I'm like, yo, shorty is in Dubai. She's in Italy. She's on boats. She's buying her mom's all types of purses. They're buying jewelry. I'm like, oh my fuck. I'm like, yo, what the fuck did I do? I couldn't believe it. I was so disappointed in myself, man. And it makes me think of like the internet, like when Google was first introduced and turned into a stock and everything. And like, I listened to Shaquille O'Neal, man. Listen, if you want to look into some gurus when it comes to this marketing and finance and all this shit, listen to Shaquille O'Neal, his investment ideas and the things that he's done. Man, he talks about it, how one of his biggest investments was just investing in Google. He had to take like $1 million out of his first $100 million contract when he signed with the Lakers, and he invested it into Google when Google was at, you know what I'm saying, just a couple of dollars. And he says that majority of his money is literally from that one investment. That mill turned into over $100 million for him in the process of him, in the process of while he was still in the NBA and collecting all these crazy checks. But I could talk about Shaquille O'Neal all day. Like, this motherfucker he's a GOAT. Like, y'all don't even know, Shaq don't own his own name right now. Like, there's no Shaq products that's owned by Shaq. If you see the word Shaq, S-H-A-Q, with the dunk man, that's not Shaquille O'Neal no more. When you're at Walmart and you see those sneakers, that's not Shaquille O'Neal no more. He sold the likeness of his name for, I believe, $200 million on some genius shit. I never even knew that this is possible. And you know what fucked me up even more? You know what he did with that $200 million? He went and bought the likeness of Marilyn Monroe. So when you see Marilyn Monroe anywhere, any type of ad, anywhere in Vegas, you see it on a billboard, Shaquille O'Neal is getting paid for that. Like, I'm telling you, Shaq is a different breed. Like, I didn't even understand the idea of buying likeness and selling your likeness. Most people do shit like that after you die. Your estate sells your likeness for hundreds of millions. Like, we hear about like how Prince, and there was a big bidding war for Prince's his catalog, and I didn't understand what that was, because that's such a different level of business. Like, real gurus buy businesses, build them up, and then sell them. Like, that's how you really win when you're talking like the long-term big money billionaire game. You know what I mean? But yeah, do some studying, research Shaquille O'Neal, and you'll be fucking amazed at the things that this guy's invested in. And that's why you see Shaq, he own Papa John's now. He own part of I forgot, the General Insurance, the Ring doorbell, everything that he partnered in, the Epson printers, bro, everything he's partnered in, he owns a large share of it. So it's like Shaq, man, he's one of the GOATs, man. You should definitely do some studying on Shaq, and he's just a great human. And when it comes to on some humanitarian level, like, just, man, shout out to Shaquille O'Neal, man, one of my idols for sure. Shout out to Shaq Towers, aka 51 Rector Park out in Newark. People don't even know Shaq owns that whole building. Literally, it's an $80 million property in the middle of Newark. It's and the shit's worth, I believe, over $300 million now. So it's like, bro, he's a fucking winner. And yeah, actually, you know what? Let me not step away from crypto too quick. Real quick, let me just break this down. So I was talking about this Google and all that shit because people didn't understand Google. When people were talking about, oh, the internet's gonna be this and that, people didn't understand it. It's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean I'm gonna be able to send an email and talk to somebody in China within seconds? Like, what do you mean we're gonna be on instant messenger? That was unheard of. Like, texting wasn't even really a thing yet. So just like the internet wasn't being understood, and the idea of Google and YouTube wasn't being understood, now these are the biggest corporations in the world. Yeah, crypto's about to be that. And if you haven't seen the signs yet, look at shit like the Staples Center. Look at the NBA. Look at any sport right now. All you see is crypto this, crypto.com this, and Stellar this. And listen, all you see is crypto everywhere. It's because this shit is here to stay. Stop running away from it. Stop thinking this shit is too late. Stop thinking, no. This shit is here to stay, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all. These things are going to go up to millions and billions of dollars. Like, Bitcoin one day will be worth $1 million. One Bitcoin. I'm telling y'all, if y'all don't want to listen now, we're going to tune back into this in about 15, 20 years, and y'all going to be like, yo, this motherfucker was right. It was just a 15, 20-year play. It wasn't a short-term. There's a big difference between short-term and long-term investments. And crypto is a long-term one, man. If you can, tuck some money away. That's what I was essentially getting to from the beginning, was just being able to put the money somewhere that it's not as accessible as just into your bank account or just into a shoebox. Put a little $100 a week away and put it into crypto, put it into Bitcoin, you know what I'm saying? Let that grow. You know what I'm saying? $100 a week in a year, 52 weeks, you'll have more than $5,000 in that account. And if it's growing how it's supposed to go, let's say right now it's at 30K. If it goes back to its all-time high at any point within the next year and it gets back to that 70K, that's more than 100% return on your investment. Like, for people who don't know, what that means is you put in that 5,000, you have, well, if it goes from 30 to 70, you actually have, what, 130% of your investment, 133%. So you'll turn 5,000 into approximately like 12,000, 13,000 if you just put the money in there. Long-term play. Don't think about it. You know what I'm saying? That's the most important part. Make it non-accessible. Don't think about it. I don't care if you got to hand this money to your mother. It don't got to even be put into an account. You can hand that shit to somebody, just tell them, hold this for me, and keep giving it to them every week or once a month. Drop 500 with somebody. Here, hold this. Keep this somewhere, like literally your parents or somebody that you could trust. But you can't trust yourself, which is what we were getting at, is to building these healthy habits. And you got to literally do these things because it's been tested. You're not good at saving money, and that's fine because everybody has to go through that. And speaking on everybody has to go through that, it's very important, man, when you start really getting money, you're gonna start changing your lifestyle and blowing the bag, which is fine because everybody has to go to the point where they go broke. A wise man once told me, man, if you can't afford that shit 3 times, you really can't afford it. So you're gonna go through these points where you're gonna be spending money and then you're gonna go broke and you're gonna be like, damn, I wish I didn't spend that, which goes back to what I was saying about your closet and how you got thousands of dollars worth of shit in there and nothing to show for it. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't even wear half the shit that's more than a year or 2 old because that's 3 years ago fashion. You know what I'm saying? If you're really into the fashion, then you don't want to be caught wearing some shit from 3-4 years ago. You're gonna look goofy. So, and that shit that's like a cycle that we need to escape as a whole, like, generation, because back in the day they ain't really cared. I mean, there was people who cared about fashion, but they was rich people. Them niggas at Neiman Marcus was rich. Like, that's what I always say. If I don't make as much money as my outfit is worth every day, I don't think I should be wearing that. You know what I'm saying? So you walking around with $4,000 or $5,000 fit and only got $3,000 to your name. I'm not saying you ain't shit, but you need to figure some shit out. I'll tell you that much. You know what I'm saying? But speaking on healthy spending habits and how to save some money and put stuff away. I mean, eventually you're gonna wanna get into investing and want to do certain things. One of the most important investments which I always speak on is buying your first property. Go get you a property, get you a first-time buyer's loan. And for people who don't know, I'll briefly explain one more time what a first-time buyer's loan. Simply put, it's a much more tangible, easy access way to buy your first property because these banks want you to buy these houses. They don't want these houses to sit around in the market because they're paying property taxes on it to the state, to the government, and they don't want these houses to be sitting on the market. So don't think people be so scared to just go to the bank and ask them, like, how do I get into buying a property? Like, just because you make $30K a year does not mean that you're not qualified to go buy a property. It might be a lower budget. You might have to move out somewhere a little further, maybe out your comfort zone, but it's worth it long term, once again, if we're talking long term. So when it comes to first-time buyers loans, instead of putting the 20% down from conventional loan, like I've definitely reiterated this. I'm going to reiterate this 100 times because honestly, it's information that everybody deserves to hear. And if you don't know about it, listen, instead of putting down 20%, you got to put down 3%. Big difference. That, like, if you got a $200,000 house, the difference is literally between $40,000. If you put down 20% of $200,000, that's 40 bands. You put down 3% of $200,000, that's $6,000. Big difference. So you might not have $40,000, but you can find $6,000. So the importance of doing that is, I mean, you got to pay that $6,000 as a down payment, then you got to pay the closing cost on the home. I want to make sure I'm transparent so you know about how much you're going to spend. You got the closing cost of the home, another like 5% of that. 5% of $200,000 will be another $10,000. So you're going to need about 16, 20, ideally 20 to 30,000. So save up, take you some time, especially if you're living at home with your parents, save all you can, especially give it yourself 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5, however long it takes. Save up that 20, 30,000 and get right. And the important part of that is so that you can refinance it and turn it into an even bigger play. So not only do you own a home, you go and refinance it, and what refinancing is literally just getting a loan from the money that the house is worth, because properties always go up in value, almost always. They can crash, that happens, but when that happens, you hear about it. That's how rare it is, because people make a big deal. It's, oh my God, the market's crashing. You've heard that plenty of times. So the important thing about refinancing is when you be able to go get a loan from the money that house is worth, and you're also getting a loan basically from the it's called the equity. The money that the house is worth now is when it grows, that growth is equity. You go borrow against that equity, and then you go use that money to go and buy some more properties or start a company, start a business. There's a bunch of different businesses that I definitely wanted to touch on that are quick and easy, that people, I don't want to say easy. Nothing's easy if you really want it. Like nothing that's generally great is easy. So couple different things that people could do, like starting trucking companies. Those are ideal, super lucrative. Like if you can get you a truck, it doesn't have to be a giant truck. And listen, you can get $1,000 van, a $2,000-$3,000 little van, but you can finance if you can. If not, you can find $3,000 to buy you a little van, like one of the vans that you see in schools. Like it'd be like an 8-seater but no seats in the back. Yeah, one of those like Home Depot vans. You go get you one of those, go get you an LLC, which don't cost more than $100, $200 to go get, and you can literally start working within a week or two. All you got to do is tap in with these companies. There's a couple companies, one like Select Express and Sea Caucus and a bunch of other different companies out there. They contract independent companies to work routes for like certain companies. Like I remember what we used to do is we used to ship things around for PC Richard and Son. So it'd be like these big companies that are working with these independent companies, because truthfully, logistics is how the world moves. It's literally how we get things from point A to point B. So there's never a dull moment when it comes to logistics. There's always going to be business. There's always people looking to move things around because there's just so much stuff. Like you go into these stores, when you go into Walmart, PC Richard and Son, all that shit, just know somebody had to bring this shit here. You know what I'm saying? When you see these hundreds of thousands of things and items and a plethora of them, they got 100 basketball hoops. Somebody brought that shit there, and it literally was companies that, like what I'm telling you is these companies, and you can, like I said, literally go to Select Express or a company like that, and they'll pay $1,000, $1,500 a week. Once you pay your cost of like your gas, couple hundred a week, toll, insurance, you're gonna be down about $500-$600 a week. You can do the math yourself if you really want to look into it, but you're gonna be down about $500-$600 a week. But if you're getting $1,500 a week, you know what I'm saying, from these companies, 15, 16, sometimes up to 1,800, they can get you can get routes for 2,000 if you're willing to drive extra. But I say that to say you could be clearing easily $900, $1,000, $1,200 a week profit as a driver / owner. So that's a good hustle if you want to get into that. I always mention people driving Uber. You know what I mean? That's another great hustle that people can get into that'll definitely level you up. But and then as we were talking about how refinancing, you go get a loan, you go use the money to go do other investments. A great thing to get into is obviously buying, flipping homes. You always hear people talking about buying, flipping, or buying, keeping. But buying homes is one of the best businesses you could do. Most billionaires are made from real estate at some point, or have the majority of their finances into their real estate portfolio, just because it's one of the most secured ones, and you can always gamble against that and use it to leverage yourself in different deals and get different loans once you have a bunch of properties. So buying, investing, there's hard money loans for people that are looking into buying and flipping properties. There's a hard money loan, which pretty much is, when I say hard money, it's like they mean physical money, because it's large lump sum. It's not like, oh, we're gonna go borrow $200,000 or $400,000. But what it is, you go to a private lender, which you can Google. You could literally Google hard money lenders, private lenders in your area. There's gonna be probably credit unions that pop up, and even independent people that'll pop up, and they'll offer you they'll offer you the loan based on a couple different things. You can get the loan based on your credit. You can get the loan based on how much money you make. Sometimes you could put a down payment towards the loan, which is, ironically, it's a down payment. The loan itself is going to be a down payment, so you're putting a down payment towards a down payment. But it's all worth it when you're thinking long term. So you can go get you like a hard money loan, for example, or you can also get it based on no credit, no financial backing. You can get it actually based on just the potential of what the house can make. If you can come up with what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word? Theory, fuck, it's not coming up to me right now. But if you can come up with the proof of concept, that's what it's called, proof of concept. When you have proof of concept, that's when you can break down the numbers and explain to them, look, this is what it's going to be. This is how much it's going to make. They'll look at the game plan. There's a whole like breakdown of exactly what it's called. I believe it's called it's the ROI, the return of investment, right? You want to show them a return of investment of how much they can make on this property. So normally, if they see that they can make 30%, if you can make 30% profit on this investment, they'll approve it just off the strength of that, because they know worst case scenario, you make back 10%, you're gonna at least be able to pay them back. They don't really care about you at that point, because your contract, you're gonna be obligated to pay them that money back. They get paid before anybody anyway, so they're not too worried. So they'll take that risk. Or if you just have proof of concept, you don't even necessarily need the entire. You don't even necessarily need the credit nor the financial backing. Like, you don't have to prove it. I make a certain amount. So that's another way to get into it. And honestly, the most important part is just actually be active, be proactive, and Google and call these people and ask them, like, yo, what do I need to get this loan? What do I need to get this and that? And you can work your way through that whole business. But another one that I'm actually getting into my damn stuff right now is buying properties overseas. Like, people don't understand. There's properties in like Dominican Republic specifically, because I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of countries that are doing this, but I can speak on this one directly because I know people who've done it, and I'm in the process of doing it right now. There's these beautiful apartments, man. They're being built left and right all through the Dominican Republic, right? And what they're doing is they need financing, so they're offering very very cheap pricing on these apartments now in order to keep the funding going. And what they're doing is like you can literally tie yourself down to a crib. Like you put a down payment of $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to buy an entire like apartment in these countries. Like I said, specifically the Dominican Republic. And they're putting them all over like the highest tourist areas. So they're heavy Airbnb worth. Like they have heavy value for the Airbnb market. So what a lot of people are doing right now is you go put that $1,000 down, and then they're charging like $400 or $500 a month, which sounds expensive, but if you're thinking long term, or even actually it's really more short term, because they normally they take about a year or two before they're actually finalized and built. Normally when you buy them, they have plenty that are already finished, but if you get one that's not finalized and built, it can be a 1 or 2 year wait before you actually start getting active with your money. But the cool thing about that is that they offer refinancing just like an American property would. They offer refinancing out there. So it might feel like, damn, I'm wasting a year or two of making payments, like that don't really make sense. But when you think about it, let's say you spending $500 a month, that's $6,000 a year. In 2 years, you were only put down $1,000, $2,000. In 2 years, you done spent $12,000 on the monthly payments. Now you're $14,000 in, but you don't realize is that was basically a savings account. That's just, all you did was save that money and put it somewhere and created an asset. Now what you're doing is that money, that $14,000 you had put back in there, now there's equity in that house because now it's done. And like I said, they're offering at a very low price. Like right now, an apartment out there that would be $150,000 when it's finished, they're letting it go for $70,000, $80,000. So what's gonna happen is the second that shit is done being built, it's automatically $120,000, $150,000. So it's gonna already double up in equity. So what'll happen is now that it's built and it's ready and you can refinance it, cool. You got $60,000, $80,000 worth of equity that you can go gamble against, and you only have put down $12,000, $14,000 in the last 2 years. So if you think about it, it's a long-term play. What you do is now you take that $60,000, and now what you do? Go buy you a plethora of Airbnbs. Go start you a jet ski company out there. Go buy 4 jet skis and put that shit on the beach somewhere. Go get you the right permits. You can make it happen. So it's just a bunch of different ideas. Like this episode, I really just want to like keep touching on just different ideas, get your brain rolling. You know what I'm saying? I know it's all a bunch of different miscellaneous little things, but I really just want to, like, you know what I'm saying, get these gems out, because I mean, I know that we touch on different topics and episodes can range from this and that, but I mean, I'm by myself up here, so I want to make sure, if I'm going to be talking about something, at least make it something with some substance. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anybody out there listening, you know what I mean? Let me see, because I know I got a bunch of other things that I wanted to put in here. Yeah, definitely the right, the Airbnb rentals. Y'all can go start that. You can start that in America too, but I mean, it's definitely a lot more. You're gonna need some more money normally, but listen, there's a way to get a loan for damn near everything, man. Especially if you get them credit boosts, like I was mentioning before. Go get you a credit boost, you can get a loan. You know what I'm saying? But another thing I wanted to get into talking about too briefly is car rentals and renting out vehicles. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people underestimate how open the car rental market is. There's a need for way more rentals than there actually are. So like a lot of companies right now, like Enterprise and Budget and Avis, whatever that you see at the airports and stuff and around locally, they're actually using vehicles from independent contractors. Like if you have a car right now, you can literally be like, yo, Enterprise, as long as it passed the qualifications that they need, obviously, but they'll rent the car from you or take it and use it as a rental. And there's also private companies that are doing that'll pay you to just have a vehicle. So this is where I'm going with this. You might have a car already. Cool. That's your normal car. It's your day-to-day. Cool. You can go finance another car, you know what I'm saying, or buy it outright, whatever you want to do. Normally, you want to finance it, though, just because you want to get the earliest car. And I don't know if you got $40,000, $50,000 to just go cash out a brand new 2020 anything or 2022 anything. But if you go get you a car, you can do one thing that an app called Turo. Like if you haven't heard of it by now, Turo. I've been fucking with Turo since it was Rally Rides. Like if you was day one, you know about Turo. Turo used to be Rally Rides. It turned into Turo. But the long term play on that would just be, it's actually a short term play because this is something that you can make money off of weekly. Like starting today, or starting by the time you go get a car, and that's gonna take you a couple of days. It might take you a week or two to get it started. But you go get a vehicle, finance it, same idea. All right, you might end up spending $500 a month on this vehicle plus insurance, another $100, $200. $700 a month, and that sounds crazy. But if you're thinking about making it into a business, you might be spending $700 a month on. Let's say you go get if you're spending $500 a month, you're gonna get you a nice car though. I'm not gonna lie, five and some change. $700 total, for example, go get you like a little C-class Benz or something, you know? And you can use that credit boost, like I was telling you before, to make sure you go get the C-class Benz, you get approved. Cool. Now, this is the long-term play on that. Once again, you go spend that. You're gonna be spending $700 a month. You spend $3,000 to get it, $1,000 on your credit boost. You're down $4,000. Now you got to spend $700 a month. Cool. It sounds like a burden, but you take you a nice little 2022 C class, a CLA 250, or even the A class. Those shits got the beautiful little new dashes and everything. People go crazy for that. You take that, you put that on the Turo market. Those is going for at least $100 to $140 a day. You know what I'm saying? Let's just call it $100 to make life simple. You know, $100 a day. You put it on this app. Mind you, Turo helps you. It helps you by making everything legit. Everything's on paperwork. These people got to get approved through the company. They have the driver license number, so they're sanctioned. Anything happens to that car, it's covered by Turo's insurance plus your insurance. So you're good. And that person normally has to have insurance to even rent the car in the first place, unless they end up buying the insurance from Turo. But regardless, so you're good. You don't have to worry about what happens to your car. That shit can go fall off a cliff. You're good. Not the point. So $100 a day off this, let's say a Benz, for example. Let's say it gets rented out. Let's just say it gets rented out half the month. You know what I'm saying? It's 15 days out. That's 15 days out the month. Or even, let's say it only gets rented out on the weekends. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There's four weekends every month, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's 3 days. It's 4 weekends, 3 days a weekend. That's 12 days. If it gets $100 a day for those 12 days, that's $1,200. Now you're only spending $700 to finance it, right? You're making $1,200 off of it. You make $500 profit. Now, best case scenario, because the thing is, when it comes to rentals, people normally use rentals when they're on vacation. And when people are on vacation, the average vacation is anywhere between like 4 to 7 days. So when people are coming in on these vacations, they get it out for a whole week. You got 7 days straight. Being the first week is gonna pay off the first week will pay off your loan and the insurance. The rest of it is profit. So it's Yeah, and like I know people who have their fleets rented out every single day. Like I know a friend of mine, shout out to A Money. Listen, we're gonna have him in here, young boy, my bro, like 23 if I'm not 22. He got like 8 cars right now. He's been going absolutely crazy, flourishing, and all kinds of I8s and all types of Audis and Benzes. Like they doing their thing. But it all started off this idea, and it's about executing. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I got my Benz that I've been renting out, and it's definitely like it's worth the attempt, man. All you gotta do is have the motivation and understand too. Like your marketing is so crucial. I gotta explain marketing before I end up dipping because listen, I already explained. Get that Benz. Listen, go get that shit rented out 20 days out the month, 25 days out the month. Imagine that. Now you're talking 2,000, 2,500. You know what I mean? So minus the insurance, $700. Cool. You up $1,300, $1,800 a month off of a car. You know what I'm saying? You break that down. That breaks down beautifully. That's $300 to $500 a week, basically. $300 to $450 a week profit. So and marketing. I just want to touch on marketing before we get up out of here because a lot of people, especially if you're an artist, man, y'all spending all this money on videos, y'all spending all this money on drip, you're spending all this money on everything else but marketing. Listen, you can spend all the money you want and make the best songs in the world. If nobody's hearing it, what the fuck are you doing it for? So it's important that you people tap in with these marketing advertisements on Facebook, Instagram, anywhere you can find some marketing, do it. Especially like if you're an artist and you wanna promote your music. One of the best things that I've seen happen for some people is they go on like these shout out to No Jumper because it's one of the biggest influences I have when it comes to this podcast and shit. It's one of the people that really motivated me. It was Adam 22. You know what I'm saying? AD House Song, all of them. Shout out to No Jumper. These reaction videos that they like react to music videos, and it only costs like $100 for them to put up your video, put it up there. They're doing it live in front of 5,000 to 12,000 people every time they do it. It's a really good look, and it's important because you get organic feedback. They don't give a fuck about your feelings. You're gonna find out some shit about yourself, and you get to get eyes on yourself. And it's like, man, it really only take that one set of eyes to see you and recognize the talent, and you could be out of here. And you don't know where you might be at, but the important thing is to get out there. So if you're spending all this money, like I said, on the renting a car for the video, this and that, you should be spending just as much on the marketing. You spend $3,000 on this video, spend $3,000 on the marketing. See the difference it does between this video and your last video. So Yeah, I just want to touch on that briefly. I know I've been ranting. I just spent a whole hour up here. Listen, hopefully you tuned in. I doubt anybody's going to get through the whole episode, but listen, I ain't want to, you know what I'm saying, just give y'all nothing this week. So I had to make sure I did my thing on here, you know what I'm saying. Hopefully y'all walked away with something. We're going to have Cinco back here. We're going to talk about a lot more, you know what I'm saying, than just finances and me talking your ear off about credit and all this other shit, you know what I'm saying. But listen, man, this has been episode 13 of the Free Gems podcast, man. I want to give y'all a special thank you. Drop some comments. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know how bad you hated this episode, how much you loved it. You know what I'm saying? But listen, man, episode 13, and we are gone.